Can I make it through this video without crying? I guess we're gonna find out together. I've been looking forward to filming this for so long. I'm feeling very emotional already today, so this might not be the best idea, but I'm titling this video something along the lines of how much I make in a month as a writer, YouTuber, and freelancer. If you are new here, I have this YouTube channel, Brielle Writes, where I talk about my writing journey. So I consider myself to be a writer, but I also very much consider myself to be a content creator, and realistically, that's where a lot of the money is coming from right now. I don't have any books published. None of the income I'm gonna be talking about today is from book sales or directly correlated to money I make from my writing. That being said, my writing is at the center of this entire business. It's what I talk about on this channel. So if I'm not writing, I'm not making content and I'm not making any of this money. So I do view writing as being very central to my business. I've had this YouTube channel since about a year ago now, so it has lived for a year. I think this channel got monetized in April, so that's about 6 months ago now. We will talk about later in this video though how though these numbers may seem to have scaled pretty fast, that is not really the case. I do have another channel, Brielle Juliet, which is more lifestyle focused, and that channel has existed since 2021, which means that I've been on YouTube, let me try to calculate this real quick, about 3.5 years. So this is not my first rodeo. And I think that's important to note because I've had years of practice, research. It set me up for success that when I did finally see that growth, my income scaled pretty quickly. And I think it's truly because I knew how to be strategic. Oh, also, I don't have a job right now. I'm taking a few months off from working a corporate 9-to-5 to really focus on the YouTube channel, my writing, my business. That seems to be serving me very well so far. The dream has always been to not be working a 9-to-5. Unsurprisingly. So any growth that I see in terms of my revenue from creative things, from the things that I actually want to be doing, means the absolute world to me because it means I'm one step closer to no longer needing a 9-to-5. And even though I'm well aware that chances are pretty high that I'm still going to need to get a full-time job temporarily, I want that to be as short of an era as possible. I also hope this video can serve as proof and inspiration that you don't need to have a huge platform to start making money, because the entire month of October, I had less than 5,000 subscribers. And despite that fact, I feel like I was able to really grow my business. So you don't need a huge following to make money from doing something like YouTube or from sharing your writing process on social media. And I hope that this video can showcase that a little bit as well. But also I hope it's entertaining because I know I would personally be sat with popcorn ready to hear the numbers. So I think the way that we're gonna do this is we're gonna start with the smallest income stream and then go up to the biggest income stream. And like I said, we're gonna be doing the exact numbers, so I'm not hiding anything. If you have any questions that arise about any of this, feel free to drop them down in the comments. All right, let's get into the numbers. We're gonna break down my 5 income streams. The smallest income stream on the list is affiliate marketing. If you're not familiar, affiliate marketing is essentially any of the links that I have in my description. This can be an Amazon link. I have links for my camera equipment, for the softwares that I use for YouTube, etc. And essentially if you click it and buy something, I get a very small commission. I made $26.04. Now, for the record, this income stream is not usually even this hefty. Up until September, I was averaging $3, $2, maybe $5. Some months I made literally zero from affiliates. In my opinion, affiliate marketing is a bit of an overrated income stream. I feel like when I first got started with YouTube and all of this, a lot of what people would talk about in these income videos or YouTube advice videos, which I watched a lot of, is affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is such a powerhouse. You can make such good money even as a small channel. I truly don't think that's true. And I just want to be honest about that. That being said, I'm still glad that I set up my affiliate links because now it's bringing in a little bit of money, but I don't think it's going to be the thing that makes or breaks you being able to work for yourself full time. So full transparency there. It is still a very small piece of the pie. So $26.04, the breakdown of that more specifically was I made $13.50 from TubeBuddy, which is like a keyword research tool that I use for my YouTube videos. Thank you to whoever signed up to TubeBuddy with my link. It is very, very sweet of you and very appreciated. $10.40 from Scrivener. So someone bought Scrivener with my link. Again, thank you. And $2.14 from Amazon. So people using any of the Amazon links in my description. I have links to cameras and some of my favorite writing resources. The cool thing with Amazon is that even if you buy something totally different than what my link is for, as long as you clicked the link in the last 24 hours, it still gives me a commission, which is really cool and something I really like about Amazon's affiliate program. So that's what made up the $26.04. It was actually from 3 different programs. And I will say, I think diversifying and including Scrivener and TubeBuddy links was one of the best things that I did in terms of actually starting to make something from affiliate affiliate marketing. The commissions from that is way higher. You know, you can get $10 or $13, like I just said, from one commission versus Amazon. That $2.14 was from $65 worth of revenue. So people had to buy $65 worth of stuff on Amazon for me to get $2. So needless to say, unless people are buying a ton of stuff with your Amazon affiliate links or really high ticket items, something like a vlog camera, you're probably not going to get a huge cut. So yeah, not the biggest game changer, but every little bit helps. Next, we have Ko-Fi. If you're not familiar with Ko-Fi, it is a tipping app website where essentially your subscribers can buy you a coffee if they so choose. It's a very sweet way to support creators. I really like the platform as well. And from Ko-Fi this month, I made $26.67, which is the most that I've earned in a month since being on Ko-Fi. So Ko-Fi, I never know how to say it. So thank you if you were one of my Ko-Fi supporters. It's a really nice, easy thing to set up. So I would recommend making a Ko-Fi page if you are a creator. It's pretty low effort to set up, and if people want to buy you a coffee, it's a really sweet way for them to do that. So between affiliates and Ko-Fi, I made just over $50, so even though they're smaller income streams, together they do make a difference. Now we get into the 3 income streams that I would call the heavy hitters, my top 3 income streams. Coming in at number 3, we have sponsorships. Sponsorships is essentially when I work with brands, they sponsor my videos. You guys have probably seen some of my sponsors on videos if you've watched my content. Sponsors is something that I've just started getting into doing consistently in the past 4 months. Sponsors is one of those things that I think people think you need to have a lot of subscribers before you start working with them. And that is just not true. 4 months ago, when I did my first sponsorships in July, let me actually confirm what my subscribers were at. At the beginning of July, when I first started working with these brands, I was at 2,808 subscribers. So if that's any indication, you do not need to have a huge platform to start working with sponsors. Just want to say that because I always thought I would need to be at least at 10K subscribers before brands even paid attention to me. And that's just like not true. If you have decent engagement, that's really what brands care about. The views on your videos, are your subscribers an engaged niche audience? That really helps you, I think, when it comes to sponsors. And I do want to do an entire video talking about sponsors on my other channel because I think I have some decent advice when it comes to them. But yes, from sponsorships, I made $375 in October. I can't get any more specific because there are NDA clauses in sponsorship contracts, but you can kind of put 2 and 2 together with that one. I do actually have high hopes that this income stream will grow in a few months and be a little higher on the list just because my channel has grown quite a bit in the past couple months and I think I could charge higher rates now, but I'm still really, really grateful and I have really enjoyed the brand partners that I've been able to work with. They're brands that I actually really love and believe in, so I'm really, really happy to have also long-term deals and relationships with some brands where I'm working with them consistently over multiple months. I feel like that is such a sweet spot to be in because it gives you a little bit of guaranteed income in an otherwise very tumultuous endeavor. Although I will say, I think people over-exaggerate how inconsistent content creation and running your own business can be. Sure, there's variation, but I feel like if you have a well-balanced pie of income streams, you can kind of learn what to expect month to month. Anyway, that's our 3rd income stream, sponsorships, $375. Also, the fact that we are not even at the top of the income streams and we're already talking at amounts over $300 is just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing to me and to past me. And I know I'm not getting emotional right now, but don't get me wrong, we will get there. Next up, we have YouTube AdSense. Guys. My channel in October did by far the best it has ever done. From YouTube AdSense in October, I made $392.15, almost $400. I could not believe that, okay? Literally just in September, I made $134.58, and I was already so happy with that. So to see it jump up to $392 gave me a bit of a heart attack. In the best way, of course. A large majority of that is from this channel, Brielle Writes. A small portion, maybe around $40, is from Brielle Juliet, my other channel, which does still bring in some revenue, even though I post on there very occasionally. If you don't know what YouTube AdSense is, it's essentially the money that YouTube/Google pays you for the ads that they put on your videos. So the ads that run when people watch my content is what's making that money. YouTube AdSense pretty much directly correlates with your views. So if your views are up, your AdSense is probably up as well. Basically, you have an RPM, which is your rate per mil or rate per 1,000 views, essentially. So for me, that's actually a good question. What is my RPM? Let's find out together, shall we? rally. Okay, so for me, my RPM in October was averaging at $7.44. So that's about how much I make for every 1,000 views on my videos. And in October, I got 46,639 views. Crazy. The highest I had ever gotten prior to that was just about 21,000 views. So October more than doubled that. Mind blowing. Thank you for watching the videos. I really, really appreciate it. AdSense was one of those ones that I honestly wasn't expecting to scale. Even a couple months ago, I was like, I don't think AdSense is really going to get above $100, $200. I'm going to really have to focus on the other income streams. And clearly the tides shifted. I'm very aware though that this might be more of a temporary high. So I'm trying to not get too attached to AdSense being this big of a chunk of the pie, because in previous months, sponsorships and the other income stream that we haven't talked about yet were bigger. So I am planning to make, updated versions of this over time. So we'll see whether or not AdSense continues to be a bigger player or if it kind of sinks back to that $100, $200 level and kind of stays there. Jury's still out. I have been posting more as well, so I do think that's a factor, as well as the fact that I just had some videos do really well in October that really skyrocketed my channel. Last but not least, we have our highest earning income stream, which was my freelance services, coming in at $507.07. I offer manuscript critiques, so developmental feedback essentially on other people's manuscripts. This was something that I started just around 6 months ago now, and this is definitely the highest earning month that I've had from it so far, which is really exciting. This has been such a cool addition to my little business that I love. This has been a huge, huge part of what is making working for myself feasible, attainable, I feel. So I'm so grateful that I started this up 6 months ago, because it's become a really big part of the direction that I see my business going in, and it's something that I want to continue to pour effort into scaling over time. The way my freelance service rates get calculated is it's based on a per word rate. So that's how that works. My rate is 0.005 per word for my base package, and then 0.007 if you add in the line level add-on, which interestingly, most people do. I think I've only gotten one booking without the line level add-on. That's the rate that makes up my freelance services income. So if you have not already gotten overeager and calculated it yourself, that makes the total of all of my business income streams $1,326.93. This is the part of the video where I get emotional, I think. In case you're curious, here is a little pie chart of the breakdown of the income streams in terms of percentages. Client work came in at 38.2%, YouTube AdSense 29.6%, sponsorships at 28.3%, and both Ko-fi and affiliates at 2%. I love a pie chart, so I wanted to include this in here, but as you can see, close-ish to a three-way split between the three major income streams, with client work having a bit of an edge. I think this will be really interesting to compare to future pie charts of what my income looks like in a few months or so we'll definitely be doing this each time I update you guys. Before we get into talking about why this is so huge for me, let's do some comparisons, which honestly I think will really shed some light on it right away. Okay, let's look at what I made 6 months ago. 6 months ago, YouTube AdSense, I generated $70.04. This was the first month that I was monetized on this channel, so it was the first time I got any money from this channel. So that's not enough to hit the payout threshold, so I didn't actually get paid out anything that month, but I did generate $70.04. Sponsorships, I made 0. At this point, I had only done one sponsorship in my entire YouTube career, and it was not that month. I hadn't signed any of my long-term contracts yet. I did not have any consistent brand partners. Freelance services, hadn't launched it yet, 0. Affiliates, I made 99 cents. And then Ko-fi, I actually had a good month on Ko-fi this month. I made $25.43. So that means our total for April 2024, which was only 6 months ago, was $95.47. So I was not even breaking $100 in revenue, and then this month I did $1,300. Crazy. I don't have words for that. I do not have words for that. And then if we want to go even crazier, let's look at a year ago, October 2023, because I do thankfully save all of this year over year. October 2023, $31.15 from YouTube AdSense. That was just from my other channel because this channel barely existed. It was literally a infant. Not even an infant, it was an embryo. $31.15 from Google AdSense, $16.56 from affiliates, that's actually pretty good. And then $13.57 from Ko-fi, bringing us to $61.28, which interestingly also shows us that from a year ago, October 2023, to April 2024, which was 6 months of time, my income grew about $30. That's it. And then from April 2024 to October 2024, it grew like $1,200. Why am I bringing up these comparisons? I feel like it should be obvious, but I'll spell it out as well. Things can change very quickly. Things can also not change very quickly. I want to get a little real and emotional for a second, because looking at those numbers, you see the fast growth. You know, you see things going from non-existent 6 months ago to now, you know, I'm not quite at the point of being able to pay my rent from my business, but I'm really damn close, actually. I'm a couple $100s away from being able to pay my rent just from my creativity and the things that I want to be doing. And that is a huge milestone. I find myself sometimes getting wrapped up in thoughts of, well, it's still not enough. It's still not enough to fully sustain myself comfortably. And that's fair, especially in a time where I don't have a job to have those thoughts. But I really wanted to create this video to have this checkpoint and document this moment, and also just celebrate myself, because, okay, I knew I was gonna cry. We're gonna try to keep it together. Because, this is, we're fine. This is what I've always wanted. Oh my God, am I okay? This is what I've always wanted. And it's been something that I've been working towards for a really long time. So let's talk a little bit about the journey to get here, because I don't want the full picture of this video to be, oh my God, how did she do this in a few months? That's crazy. Because yes, it happened in a few months in terms of like the numbers, but the effort and the work that I've been putting into making this happen has been years in the works. And I would always hear people say that, and I always kind of rolled my eyes a little bit, because I think when you're in those stages of grinding and not seeing results, it feels like it's never gonna happen. And that is very much how I felt. I'm an optimist at heart, so I would always try to kind of snap myself out of that mentality. But there were many times over the last several years where I had thoughts of like, how the hell am I gonna make this work? How am I gonna actually create a career and a job that I like? How am I gonna ever be able to make enough money to be self-employed? Because I would see other people doing it, and I had such envy and jealousy, and just like my brain just could not figure it out. Like, it felt like something that I was trying desperately to crack how to do for myself. And even though I felt like I knew the steps and I saw other people's journeys and I tried to follow in their footsteps, it just felt like something wasn't clicking. And I spent years in that place of like not really seeing growth. I got my first channel monetized back in 2022 after a little over a year on YouTube. And then for the next year, I made just about $30 a month from AdSense all year, and it never grew. And you know, when you see those numbers and you see those results, how can you not get a little discouraged and feel like, is it ever going to happen for me? Like, am I ever going to actually see these numbers scale? And I had those thoughts a lot. So I want to include this reflection in here, because I think what's often missing in these flashy money videos is a sense of perspective on the fact that this took a really long time to achieve. And then once it starts to grow, it starts to snowball. If you have the right strategies in place, and if you did things in a way that aligns with your strengths, which I do want to talk about as well. Once it gets going, it starts to snowball. But getting to the point where you're earning that first $100 in a month, $200 in a month, $300 in a month, that's the slog. That's the part that took, at least for me, years of trial and error. I want to talk for a second as well about all of the things that I tried before this that did not work. Because even though we hear it a lot, we often forget, and we often have unfair expectations. The first thing you try might not be the thing that takes off for you. Let's start at the very beginning, okay? We're gonna fully deep dive into my journey, so get a snack. I don't know. In middle school and high school, I wanted to be a writer. I was writing books. I was going to little writing events. I wanted to become a published author. At some point along the way, writing kind of fell off my radar. I stopped doing it. I stopped pursuing it. My dreams shifted for the first time of many times. Going into college, I already knew that I wanted to work for myself, and I knew I wanted to do something creative. That was the thing that has never, ever changed for me. I knew I didn't want a typical 9-to-5 job. It never appealed to me. I wanted an unconventional life, and I wanted to do my own thing and do something that would really fulfill me on a creative and personal level. I went to college for film. I thought maybe I wanted to be a filmmaker. I then took some photography classes and started doing photography more so in clubs and in my free time. And then I thought I wanted to be a freelance photographer. So that was my new dream and preoccupation. So I thought I was gonna move to LA and become a freelance photographer. I also started really thinking about, especially in my senior year of college, the fact that I didn't want a normal job and that I had not started building anything for myself that would make that feasible. So I kind of had a moment of, oh shoot, it's time to actually start working on this, because I kind of realized the system does not promote or encourage or make it easy, I should say, for people to pursue working for themselves or something creative. The system sets you up to go into a corporate 9-to-5, like very much so. So I kind of had a realization my senior year of college of, oh shoot, if that's not what I want to do, I need to figure something out. I was pursuing photography, doing photo shoots, etc., but I was very aware of the fact that that wasn't pulling in any money yet, so I decided to start a YouTube channel. YouTube was something that I had watched and loved and wanted to do, honestly, for years, and just never had the guts. So I started my first YouTube channel in 2021, like right before school ended. I also tried to do some like other little online side hustles because I was like, I don't want to have to get a traditional job. Let me see if I can make money on my own. One thing that I do honestly admit that I was pretty naive about was just the amount of time that would be required for me to build a business for myself. Of course, there's exceptions, but for the most part, you can't get to the point of making a full-time income in just a couple months, which was very much what I was trying to do. So I started working full-time jobs as I was still trying to figure out how to make my creative dreams happen and make money from my creativity. So I continued grinding on my YouTube channel. Like I said, growth was very slow. It took me over a year to get monetized. So for all of that time, I was cranking out videos at least one time a week, working my butt off, to be totally honest, for very little return. Not only monetarily, but just like I couldn't quite crack how to get people invested in me on that channel. Like I never really had a core audience. It kind of felt like I was talking into the void. Honestly, for most of the time on that channel. Like, yeah, by the end of my grind over there, I had a few consistent viewers and I appreciated those people. I also did make some great friends because of that channel. So no regrets about the journey that I took. But even though I was holding out hope and still kind of hoped and dreamed that one day that channel would take off, I was getting very little indication of momentum. I also was still doing photography and trying to make a photography business for myself. But similarly to how I felt with my YouTube channel, I couldn't crack photography. The things that I would have to do to make it into a consistent source of income were not the parts of photography that I loved. I loved doing film portraits with models. The thought of having to pitch to brands to do photo campaigns for them, or having to take wedding or senior portraits, I hated that. I knew I didn't want to do that. And yes, there are some people who make a living taking film portraits of models. That is a very small group of people. And if I had been willing to grind, like really grind on photography to make it a money maker, I'm sure I could have gotten there eventually, but it wasn't something that was coming naturally to me at all. So years pass of me trying to do the photography thing, the YouTube thing. Like I kind of showed you in the numbers, I wasn't really getting anywhere. And I was in this kind of middle ground of the optimist in me was still hopeful, and I was very much clinging to anything I'd ever heard about it takes a really long time to build success. You never know when your breakthrough's gonna come. And I think I was still just kind of holding out for that breakthrough moment, for one of my videos to go viral and my channel to skyrocket, and it never really happened. Fast forward to about a year ago now, October 2023, I'd been making videos for 2.5 years, trying to grow on YouTube. I was getting a couple hundred views on my videos. I didn't really have a community yet. I wasn't really making money. I had pretty much given up on making a full-time living from photography because I had come to the realization that what I would have to do, like I said, to realistically build full-time income from photography stripped away everything that I loved about photography. I also realized I didn't really want the high pressure lifestyle of constantly having to acquire new clients, being on high stress photo shoots, trying to appease a client, because one of the things that I liked about photography was the amount of creative freedom and control that I had on the collaborative shoots that I was doing. And I knew if I did a ton more client work, it would very much be, I'm just the person with the camera fulfilling their vision. It wouldn't feel as creative to me. So I realized that I liked photography more like a hobby. I definitely didn't want to go into the film industry because I saw friends of mine that were in the film industry that were just like struggling. And so even though at the time, it's not like I consciously decided that I was pivoting, in hindsight, I did pivot here without knowing it. Because I started this channel. Hallelujah. Honestly, hallelujah, because if I had not started this channel, truly, I don't know if I ever would have made it. Something, intuition, I don't know, divine intervention prompted me to start this channel, and thank God it did. But in hindsight, what I see from that moment is I wasn't able to gain momentum with the things that I was doing previously, and that should have been a sign to me that I needed to switch up my strategy. Because honestly, I feel like I don't want to say I wasted time, because I'm grateful for every part of my journey. But from my analytical and strategic standpoint, I did kind of waste time spinning my wheels, being on the hamster wheel of doing the same thing over and over and wondering why it wasn't working, when in actuality, what I needed was the pivot of starting this channel. This is, I think, one of the key things that I want to impart on you in this video. You might need to try multiple things before you hit the right thing. Yes, tenacity is important. Yes, you need to stick with something long-term to see results. But if you are banging your head against the wall for years and the things you are pursuing are not growing, you might be in need of a pivot. You might need a change of strategy. I think I was a little too stubborn with that past channel to take a hint a little bit and be like, Brielle, this isn't working. At least it's not working right now. Maybe you need to try something a little different. This channel changed everything. And honestly, right away, I could tell this was different. All of that being said, I do think, and I've heard this advice before, when you fall into the thing that you're meant to be doing, or the right path, or the thing that's gonna be your breakthrough, it no longer feels like you're fighting against the current. I feel like when I was trying to grow my YouTube before, when I was trying to do photography, I felt like I was like literally swimming against the biggest waves in the world, because I just felt like I kept getting slapped in the face and nothing was helping me forward. Like, I did not feel like anything around me was propelling me or encouraging me. It felt like pure grit and stubbornness was what was keeping me moving. Contrary to when I started this channel, things started growing much easier. People seemed to really like my content, and I felt like I was in this sweet spot where I loved what I was doing. It wasn't too difficult for me. It very much helps that I had years worth of video making experience from starting my other channel. So it was coming to me pretty naturally, and it was resonating with people. That was like a green flag of, Brielle, you finally cracked it. You're doing the right thing. It felt like things were conspiring to lift me up rather than feeling like I was being torn down by the waves. It felt like I was being supported and propelled by the universe, or whatever you want to call it. And that's truly how I knew I was on the right track. And to be fair, I do think I had to try out all those different things and collect information to get to the point where I found my ideal, perfect little career here. Because this, when we think about all the things that we just talked about, is an amazing combination of so many different interests and skills and things that I've done in the past. I'm making video content, which very much aligns with the interests that I had in video and film in college. I went to film school because I thought visuals were cool. So I feel like I use that. I feel like I'm using my photography interest and the graphic design minor that I got back in school when it comes to things like thumbnails. So I feel like that visual part of me is very engaged and satisfied with the YouTube that I do. My very first dream of being a writer has come back onto the table. Like, duh. In hindsight, it's so clear how the pieces came together, and this is like my ideal career. It's just crazy how in hindsight, like, things are so much clearer. But to be fair, it was very unclear to me at the time what I was supposed to be doing. So yeah, I wanted to reflect on my journey for a second, and I'm very much hoping to make more updates pertaining to this and pertaining to working towards becoming a full-time creative and actually making, a proper full-time income from my creativity, because this is not an easy thing to do. It is something that I'm obviously still working on, but I want to be a source of, I guess, inspiration, validation that it is possible, because like I said, the system is not set up to encourage people to pursue this, but this is me telling you, if you want to work for yourself, if you want to be a creative, if you want to be a writer, whatever you want to do, you can do it. You can do it. It does require some strategy. It requires getting out of your own way. It requires thinking about income streams and the business side of everything. Like, you can't just close your eyes and hope for the best. It really does require a lot of work and effort and strategy and thought, but it is possible. And I've been so inspired by all of the full-time writers and full-time creatives that I've watched the journeys of. And I think it's really cool to be able to be sharing updates in real time of working towards that, showing the progress that I have made, and hopefully being able to show future progress in the future when I'm making, a proper full-time living, and being able to look back on this video and be like, she was so close, like she was actually getting there. And that's so special to me. I'm not quite there yet, but what I think is so magical is that it feels like it is within reach. Like, I can see just on the horizon getting to that point, and that is so special. It was something that me a couple years ago couldn't fathom. I finally figured it out. Like, I finally cracked how me as an individual can make my creative living. And I think it's so personal. Like, it's gonna depend on your strengths. There are other people that make great money from lifestyle channels on YouTube. That did not work for me, and that's okay. There are people who make great money from being photographers. That did not work for me, and that is okay. Every journey is so personal, and I truly think that like each person has that path that is going to work for them, and it's just a matter of like stumbling around in the dark for a little while until you find that one path that you lock in on and you're like, yes, this is it. This is working. This is what I feel like I'm meant to be doing. This combines my strengths and interests in a way that really resonates with me. This is what I've been waiting for. And if you're in that stumbling around in the dark phase where you haven't cracked it yet and you have this ambition that you want to become a full-time writer or a full-time creative and work for yourself, create the life that you've always dreamed of, like you will find that path. One of the best things that I can encourage you to do is do not stop experimenting and trying things, because if I had stopped a couple years ago and continued being stubborn, being like, no, this lifestyle channel is what I said I wanted to do, I'm going to stick with it, I'm not going to start a new channel, I honestly don't know whether or not I ever would have gotten to the point of being able to make full-time money from that. And so pivoting, experimenting, trying new things is so critical. Like I said, my freelance business, so glad that I started that because that has been a game changer. Get crafty, get strategic, think about what income streams can work for you, watch the journeys of other people. I've been so open about the fact that Katie Wismer's career and business has been a huge source of inspiration for me and a big reason why I've set things up the way that I have in terms of my income streams. Go look at other full-time creators, full-time writers. What do their income streams look like? How do they get there? Like, familiarize yourself with their entire journey. Try to follow in their footsteps. Honestly, try to recreate it, you know? One of the cool things about YouTube is that people's journeys have become so public. You can literally watch certain creators from their inception, from when they were first starting to pursue things, all the way to where they're at now. So don't sleep on that as a resource, because I honestly think discovering Katie and what she did with her career completely changed the trajectory of what I was doing. She was honestly the reason why I started this channel. And I honestly think if I hadn't found her content, there's no shot that I would be here right now, which is crazy. I don't know. On the off chance that you're watching this, Katie, thank you. Yeah, you changed everything for me. I'm getting emotional again, so I think it's time to wrap this up. If you have any questions for me, like I said, leave them down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment down below the little money with wings emoji. I am hoping to continue doing more income related videos, specifically on my Patreon, which I'm hoping to launch in December. But I am, of course, also going to be posting updates on here. I have no qualms or issue with sharing real numbers. So yeah, I want to be super transparent. If there is a lot of questions that you guys have, maybe I'll do like a follow-up Q&A talking more about this and like getting into more of the nitty-gritty of the strategy and stuff that I put into how I built all of it. I'm really, really excited to see where things go from here. I'm in such an exciting growth period within my business where I truly don't even know what to expect in the next few months. I would be so happy if things stayed around where they are now, but if things continue to grow, I mean, I'm gonna be sobbing my eyes out in the next video. Last but not least, I just want to say thank you, because none of this would be possible if it wasn't for you. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Happy writing. Bye.